This is Girls, Gains, and Growing Pains, a podcast about working smarter and harder to achieve your fitness goals. In every episode, we break down common health and fitness questions in a fun and relatable way.
Whether you're a beginner or far along on your fitness journey, this podcast is for you. I'm Rachel Johns, a bikini bodybuilder, nutrition certified through Precision Nutrition, and a NASM certified personal trainer.
And I'm Julia Ross, just a regular gal trying to get healthier and lose weight.
It is important to note that neither of us are medical professionals, and the views expressed on this podcast are those of the host. So, we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
I'm really excited about this episode because this is actually one of the first questions that I like to ask people when onboarding clients is, do you have people supporting you in this journey?
Mm-hmm.
Because fitness journeys can be really long, really hard, really emotional, and they can feel really lonely.
Yeah.
And I know firsthand how sometimes I feel with that because I'm on this journey that's really, really intense, and that's really on this really far end of the spectrum of fitness where I don't drink anymore. Like, I stopped drinking alcohol altogether for over a year and a half now.
My gosh.
And I am committed to my gym time. And, you know, sometimes that means maybe I don't stay out as late because I need to hit the gym early in the morning. Vacationing. When I go on vacation, I still hit the gym.
I have personally experienced that.
Yeah. So it can be this feeling of loneliness where your circle changes because of these new habits you're picking up. Mm-hmm. And it's good to have a support system because of all these changes you're making. And that's the same whether it's what I'm doing or what you're doing, is because you have to make changes and you have to have support in that, because there are so many temptations that just creepy crawl towards, it just everywhere.
Yes.
If there were temptations everywhere, these would be really easy journeys, and like it wouldn't require intense coaching, it wouldn't require a lot of self-discipline. But one of the things that comes with that is having people alongside you to nurture that journey with you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's super, super important. And so for you, your support system, is me, obviously.
Obviously.
But you have your family. So let's talk about that first, because I know I've talked to your family about the stuff you're doing, and they listen to the podcast.
It's true.
Shout out to Julia's family.
Hi.
And hello. And so what is that like for you when, I know like they sent you a video of them listening to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, not just listening to the podcast, but listening to our hydration episode while all of them drank water and said, we're staying hydrated, listening. We'll have to post that. It just warmed my heart. And
it was so cute.
And they'll text me little updates. Like my dad said about the body composition episode, he texted me and commented on just how he never really thought about it that way and how it was so exciting. And it really warms my heart to have them be so supportive of something that I was initially really nervous wouldn't make sense to them, you know? So that was really exciting.
Because it's a whole different world when you're like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things, and like, I'm going to be making really big changes. And sometimes people might not be supportive of that out of maybe like almost like an envious feeling of like, they start to see you make these great changes and feel better. And then all of a sudden it's like, can you believe she's doing that? You know, like it can go one of two ways. It can be like, wow, that's amazing. Like when she comes, make sure we have food for her. Or it can be the opposite and be like, well, come on. You've been eating healthy. Just splurge. And I think that's where I kind of want to go with the support system is we can kind of give recommendations for significant others, for family members, for friends who might have other people on these journeys. And if you're someone on the journey and you feel like, you know what, maybe my friends do need a bit of guidance on how to support me in this, because as friends, it's not super normal to help your friend who is trying to lose weight, who's, you know, preparing for some sort of competition, whether it's powerlifting, whether it's bodybuilding or a race or something like that. You know, they all require a style of training and a discipline. And I think it's hard for people to know how to be supportive in those situations, because you don't want to be the friend that's like, oh yeah, weigh out your food. Like, because then everyone else kind of looks at you like, oh, why is she being so, like almost overly supportive? And then there's the people that are like, oh, that's so annoying. Like, we can't go out to eat because, you know, she can't eat this or he can't eat this or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know when I first started bodybuilding, that's something I kind of experienced was like, I didn't go out to eat as much. And it was like, because it's hard for you to track. And especially when you're in prep, you know, you can't do that. And your significant other especially has to be on board with that. And it's hard for them because they're like, but I want to go out to eat. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to another podcast about, they only talk about bodybuilding though. And what they were saying is the coach who is married to a competitor, he was like, isn't it crazy though that as significant others, like we get upset that our spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend is just trying to better themselves and we're the ones upset? Like they're the ones cutting their food and having to actually do it. And we're the ones sitting here. He's like, that's such an entitled person, like, thing. It's like, no, like, they're the ones doing it. So why not nurture them in that, encourage them in that, make them feel good that they're doing that? Because when people start to make you feel like, oh, I'm the reason we can't go out. Like, I'm the reason for this. It's like, your person's just trying to be healthier for your overall life and relationship.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really important that we talk about ways that you can be supportive of someone, whether it's in a weight loss journey or whether it's in they're preparing for something. Maybe they're getting married. Maybe your best friend's getting married and she's trying to lose weight for her wedding. Like, how can you be supportive in that? So what are some ways that maybe your friends, your family, significant others could be supportive in you in a weight loss journey?
Definitely referencing like the being supportive in a not like annoyed way, you know, like like my family's just 100% supportive all the time. So when I visit my family, I work remote, so I can visit them for a good amount of time, and they always ask for what food they can have available, which is really helpful. And if I go for my temptation food, they won't, you know, physically restrain me from having it, but they'll make comments like, okay, like, are you sure you want to do like that with your diet? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, it's fine. And then it's important that you don't, I think, take like a policing kind of attitude, but just like, it's like a supportive nudge. It's the same way that you would remind, you know, I think of like reminding people to do their homework, you know. It's just kind of, it's like, it's something you do. There's not like anything wrong about doing that, but it's, yeah, so things that have most supported me has definitely been having healthy food available. Mental health check-ins have been really helpful for my support group. One thing that will happen, and I'm looking around at my part right now, one thing that will happen when my mental health is not doing as good is my plants will start dying. Oh. And so you can, like, most of them are gone, but my parents will call me and they'll say, okay, how many plants are dying right now? I'm like, what? And so that's been helpful because I know for a lot of people with like mental health struggles and those who are also at the same time trying to pursue a fitness journey, it can be really easy to pour all of our efforts into the fitness journey because that's really rewarding and we get a lot of external comments on it and it's super easy to control. Whereas you can't really control your anxiety or control your ADHD or depression. So I think I extra have leaned on my support group for that mental health support as well and reminding me to prioritize that too. Because it's just, fitness is so easy to just gas people up and be like, oh my God, like the physical changes are amazing. Like you're doing so good. But our last episode on body dysmorphia, like there's a lot of mental load that comes with fitness journeys of any kind. So I think that's what I need the most out of my support group, and thankfully I get a ton of it from the people in my life, including you, which is sappy, but like, oh my God. So that's what I would say. What about you, though? What do you find most helpful?
Well, so unlike you, my family, okay, first of all, premise, I love my family.
They're love great. Them. Shout out.
But they are not super supportive of the bodybuilding stuff I do.
Tragic.
It's because it is an interesting sport. You're in a bikini and it's all about how you look. And I always joke with my mom, I'm like, I was a gymnast. Like, you started me out this way. Like, this is the adult version.
Literally, though.
It's just easier on my joints.
Yeah.
So, and I go home, and I was pescatarian for a long time.
I remember that.
And I would go home, and my mom's like, So I have salmon burgers, and that would be like the only food I could eat. And then we'd like sit down for dinner, and because my mom's always been a very like homemaker, and so we never cook when we come home, but we'd sit down for dinner, and I'm like, oh, so do I have a salmon burger? And she's like, oh, I forgot. I'll microwave it real quick.
No.
And so because there are 4 of us kids, and we all have significant others, and then usually when I'm home, it's like my grandma, and it's my parents, and it might be another relative. So it is a lot of people, and I know that is a struggle for the cooking to accommodate what I need. So what we started doing is I would go home, and I would take my mom's car to the grocery store, and I would just get all my own food. So I told my mom to finally just be like, you know what? I understand that it's like kind of stressful for her, but also like for me, I love having control of what I eat, and for me to go to the grocery store on my own, because I mean I don't live close to home. Like you could live a little bit closer at least.
Yeah.
I'm flying from California to Indiana if I'm going home, so it's like once a year.
Yeah.
So for her to like completely change all the food we're making for once a year, I do kind of understand that. But she's also gotten better about, like, if I go grocery shopping, she's like, okay, here's my credit card. You can buy the food. You know, like, kind of in that, sweet. How she gets supportive. I don't think she'll ever come to a bodybuilding show.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Okay.
But, you know what's cool, though, is I openly talk to them more about my fitness journey. And my dad just got a personal trainer for the first time.
Okay. So exciting.
And, you know, my sister's been going to the gym with her husband. And actually with her father-in-law. And so that's been kind of cool, is I feel like they are in some way taking what I'm doing and doing it in their own. And for me, that's almost like an indirect support for me, because I'm like, okay, like we're all kind of doing this now. Okay, so my sister and I more openly talk about fitness than I think we ever have. And so for me, that's kind of what I need from them. Now from my friends and from Ephraim, my fiance, he loves to go out to eat.
This is very true.
He loves to go out to eat. He likes to go out with his friends. Mm-hmm. We go to parties. He does drink and I don't.
He likes to taste tequila.
Just for like a backstory. Julia came to this dinner with us one time with all of Ephraim's friends. Now, Ephraim's friends are closer to his age, in their 40s, where Julia and I are still in our 20s. And they were like tequila tasting, but like just straight tequila, like sipping on tequila. And Julia and I were just cracking up. We're like, I don't think anyone's enjoying this. I'm watching everyone, me being a sober Sally with her water, and I'm just like, this doesn't look appetizing at all.
Well, and it was hard because it was expensive
tequila,
and I was very out of my element, and so I thought we were just taking shots, so I was ready to get lit, you know, and then all of a sudden I look, they're just sipping, they've got like their little pinkies up,
yeah,
and so
Julia took like maybe one sip of alcohol that night. I was like, okay, we're good.
Well, because I had to keep finishing it, because every time I turned down a round, I felt bad, so I would sip it, but then I would taste like barbecue afterwards or something. So mad respect for people that can really let tequila sit on your tongue. Yeah. That's very impressive.
It's gross. I'm sorry. But I guess going with that, though, is those are scenarios where I am my own support system in that. Like, I don't ever take away from Ephraim's experiences in those, because you know what? Like, that's something that he hasn't felt like he wants to give up, is alcohol. And I know a lot of people feel that way, and that's fine. And I know in those moments, like, he doesn't drink very often. Like, that was probably once every 2 weeks. And him and I had the discussion about, okay, what does it look like to support me in not drinking? And it also not be, like, me just sitting there staring at him if he doesn't want to drink, because he's, like, essentially drinking alone. And so we kind of came to the agreement that if it's just us two, like, there doesn't need to be any alcohol involved.
No.
And that's how he's supporting me in that, because it is hard as a 27-year-old to go to parties, to go out to restaurants, travel, whatever that looks like, and be the person that's not drinking. I mean, we go to all-inclusive resorts or whatever, and you can have unlimited alcohol there. And
yeah, because it's not that you don't like the taste of alcohol. You like it so much that you have, I'm going to call you out here, alcohol-free wine.
Yeah, I love the taste of wine.
Yeah.
But I know for my fitness goals, like, that's not in the cards. And that's a choice I've made, and Ephraim and I've talked about it, because, you know, he would like us to be able to go wine tasting and things like that, but he doesn't make me feel bad for not drinking. No. He understands where my goals are. And I think for me, that's all I need out of the support of a partner, because I am very self-motivated. And I am blessed that I am. I actually just did my Enneagram because we did premarital counseling with our pastor. And my Enneagram, I think, is 1 or 8 or something. And it's the competitive person. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be competitive with someone I know. Like, I am very driven to be the best that I can be. And that's the best,
it's
whether
intrinsic.
It's in competition. Yeah, it's very... So my support system, I just need him to not make me feel bad. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't, because we can still go out. And sometimes before we go out, I'll eat like 6 ounces of boiled chicken, so that I'm high on protein. So all I need is like a little bit of things here and there, and it works. Yeah, it totally works for us. And I also get very motivated and have a support system with my clients, because even though I'm their support system, and if you're a client with a coach who is also on their own fitness journey, like you can be a measure of support for them too. Really? Because they're grinding it out too. Like, they're seeing you at 6 a.m. Guys, they also got to get up at 5 to get there by 6. They also have to get their workout later in the day. They have other clients, whatever that is. But if you're like, hey, I saw you lifting in here the other day. You looked really good. That is such good support for them. Like, I have clients that tell me that, and I'm like, thank you. Like, I appreciate that. Like, you can be a support system for, even people you don't know. One of the other trainers came up to me, and he said, hey, my client saw you lifting. And she was like, I've never seen a girl with like that good of a back. And he was like, I knew that would make your day. Oh, those support systems, you can really be a support system for anyone in a fitness journey. And whether that's you see a girl at the gym that you always see there, and whatever journey she's on, and you think her leggings are cute and she's rocking them, go tell her. Like, that's how you can be. It's kind of like that thing where like leaving a nice comment on an Instagram post is like the minimal effort to be a big support for someone. Mm-hmm. And it's offering like the words of encouragement, but sometimes the support system just comes from like words of affirmation, and then also making sure they don't feel like a burden when it comes to your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And again, like, if you're someone supporting someone in a fitness journey, they're bettering themselves. Yeah. And they're putting in the work. So do not take that focus and put it on yourself of like, but I don't get to go out and drink. Like, what? Do you see how crazy that sounds? I do. Though, when it's like, let's say it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and they're trying to make themselves feel better, look better, create healthier habits, and you're the one that's upset.
Well, I'll be honest here. Like, I met you, and then a couple months later, you started your bodybuilding journey, and you're not drinking alcohol. And sometimes I do wonder, I'm like, man, like, I wonder what it would have been like for us to have a riotous, drunken weekend in Vegas.
So funny you say that, too, because I was in prep in Vegas with Ephraim and his friends. Yes. And Ephraim and his friends do, like, bottle service. They do the day clubs, the night clubs. And you know what? It was a blast. I didn't have the slightest sip of alcohol. Like, I didn't have any alcohol.
You never do.
And I didn't go over on my food. No. I stayed right on track. But it was kind of cool because I felt like I was able to be in any sort of lifestyle, and Ephraim still like supported me so well in that, which was amazing. Like, we went to like the day club, and he was like, what do you need? And I was like, okay, they have sushi platters of just sashimi, so then I don't have to have any rice and it's all protein. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, and I just want like a Diet Coke. And he like went to the waitress. He's like, I need this and this. This is for Rachel. No one else eat it. So it is like, I can still do those things. Exactly. And it's cool though, because he's really learned how to support me in those ways where I don't feel bad. Like, and the way he supported me in front of his friends, it wasn't like, oh, yeah, she's not drinking. He was like, oh yeah, she's in prep for this show. Like, she looks so good. Like, hyping me up. And I think that's where it's amazing. If you have a friend or a spouse or something, whatever that it looks like, or even your family, that where if you guys go do something where maybe it is that kind of environment, that instead of making them feel bad and almost humiliating them in front of people like that they care about, or like, whatever, that is a way that you can take that pressure off of them and make them feel so good for their choices with it not making harm to anyone else. Like,
Well, and I've seen him do that. Like, we were at a party where neither of us were drinking. I think I had one drink, and then I was like, I'm gonna regret this tomorrow, so then I just had water for the rest of the night. And you had water all night, and Ephraim was drinking, and one of his friends was there. This was the basement bar party.
Oh, yeah. The birthday party.
Yes, and so Ephraim's friend, I'm sorry, friend, I'm forgetting your name. Ephraim's friend was like, oh, why isn't she drinking? Like, nothing, she's not pregnant or anything, right? Like, nothing's happening. And Ephraim just, like, without even thinking, was just like, oh, no, she doesn't drink. She's training for a bodybuilding competition. Like, it's so cool. So I was just sitting there, I was like, excellent. Like, cheers by water to that. And then on that same, like, vein, like, the two of us, we danced as much as everyone else did that night. You against your will, me willingly.
I hate dancing, first
yeah, but we had a perfectly fine time. Like, it's,
yes.
so I think it's important to note that, like, even though other people need to do, like, certain stuff, like, eat a lot to feel better, or drink to feel better, like, and you can still totally do those things in moderation, but, like, if your fitness journey requires that you not drink, or your fitness journey requires that you eat less,
or certain kinds of food,
especially bar food, because it's so buttery and so fatty and so hard to control, especially when you're drunk, because then you're like, oh, I'll just have all the fries, I won't get my little to-go box like I always do. No. So yeah, it's better to have company in those. I always think of, like, having at least one friend that's, like, a buffer friend, you know.
Buffer friend.
Well, yeah.
Like, hey, and there's ways to, like, so for me, I don't want Ephraim or any of my friends to be like, because I'll order food at a place like that, and then they'll be like, are you sure you want that? And I'm like, I know how to count my food. So don't also, like you said, be the police friend. Like, it's not your job to be over the top, but it's your job to be supportive in their decisions in that moment, and, like, say, hey, if you want let's say they want 3 fries, because that's how I am. I'm like, I just want, like, 3 fries. Ephraim be like, okay, let's order the fries. You can have a few of them, and then, like, we'll hand the rest out to other people. Yeah. So that's how we kind of handle those situations, which is nice, because he's not like, are you sure you want the fries? Totally. He's like, okay, you know what? We're in this setting, and, like, maybe you can smell them and they smell good, and, like, I just want a few. I can't overeat on fried foods because of my stomach, but that's a time where he's been really supportive in knowing how to be supportive of, like, oh, okay, you want that? Fine. There's 10 other people at this birthday party, like, that we were at. They can have the rest. Totally. And it's like, great. Yeah. We do that. Yeah. And that's been such good support, and he's, like, mastered that now. And actually, too, is another thing that is really cool for if you are someone supporting someone on whatever kind of fitness health journey it is to learn more about it. And so Ephraim actually told me, so we drove to Vegas a few weeks ago for a bodybuilding show to go watch it. I had 2 sessions where I was meeting with coaches for posing. My coach was there, his girlfriend was there, he had people competing, and I noticed Ephraim was, like, asking my coach a lot of questions and asking the posings. Phoebe Hagen was there. Oh my god. And Ephraim was asking Phoebe questions, and then we did a posing session with this girl named Malou, and he was videoing me the whole time and, like, really learning. And, you know, he, like, the whole weekend I just felt like he was more, like, into it. And so we were driving home, and he was like, hey, I told myself going into this weekend, like, this is something you really care about, and I'm going to learn about it. This weekend, I'm not going to be complacent. I'm not following you around to these events. He's like, I'm going to ask Enrique questions. I'm going to ask the posing coaches questions so I can learn. And he did, because even now when I practice my posing, he's like, oh, hey, remember when she said this? You need to do this a little bit more. Like, he really took it in. That's so sweet. Exactly. And that's how a support system can be so, so, so supportive for you without them being overbearing. It's just like, they're just learning. So, yeah, if your family is like, hey, we were learning about macros and we know that this food is really low fat and high protein, so we got some for you. You're going to be like, wow, like, that's amazing. Like, that feels really good. It's almost like a love language. Yeah, like it is. Because there's like 5 love languages. It's like the 6th love language is caring about a fitness journey. Yeah, it's caring enough that you're taking now your own time to learn. And that can be just so, so supportive. And I have a client right now where she says to me all the time, she's like, I am so blessed to have a husband who really cares about this and is just following me right alongside that, supporting me in it, seeing what you're telling me to do, helping me execute that. And help her with other tasks in the house, because when we first started talking, she was like, well, but usually when I come home, my husband might be hungry, so I need to take time to make him food before I go work out. And I said, well, how about you guys talk about that? Maybe he makes his own food while you go start your workout, and then he'll join you in the workout after.
Yeah.
And he did that.
Good.
It's cool that, you can ask for your support system.
Yes.
Because maybe they don't know that's what you need, though.
That's true.
So now, as looking at ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
what are some things we can tell our circles of what we might need? Because that is a hard reflection to be like, what do I need from other people?
I know, I'm like...
Because these journeys are not alone. That's where they start to get lonely.
My therapist even asked me this week. She goes, what would help? Like, what do you need help with? I'm like, girl, I don't know. But, I mean, today was really great because Rachel joined me at the grocery store. And we went through the grocery store and looked through some healthy options for snacking and sipping, because I do a lot of board eating. So just kind of shaking up the palate a little bit. So that was really fun and practical. But when your best friend isn't a personal trainer / nutritional expert,
to go through all the grocery aisles.
More pedestrian assistance. I love when people tell me that they went to the gym, which is so random, and I'll explain it. Because if people ask me if I go to the gym, besides like you, obviously, I'll feel a little guilty and a little bit of shame. And if other people just tell me that they went to the gym, I get excited, and that triggers a little bit of competitiveness in me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I need to go to the gym. So anytime one of, like, your fellow trainees, posts a gym selfie or messages me, like, oh, I was thinking of you at the gym today.
At Allie.
Yeah, literally, I was like, yeah, we all know who I'm talking about. That is really supportive and helpful for me. So just little twists like that where... Instead of you say, like, okay, like, did you go to the gym today? You can say, hey, I went to the gym today and I hit this. Are you going to the gym today? Are you hitting this anytime soon?
Yeah, what are you hitting?
Yeah, but if you frame it like, I did this, so you should do it too, like, that partnership and coming alongside is the most powerful allyship I think I've experienced so far.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I think for me... my dad calls me his shark, and I am totally a shark, where
a little shark.
I know what my goals are, and I know where I'm going, and no matter what anyone tells me, it doesn't matter.
Wait, that's so cute.
He's always told people that when they're like,
a little shark.
when they're like, what are your kids like? He's like, Rachel's a shark.
That's
like, she.
Dang. Okay.
He's always like, when she smells blood, she goes. And, like, that's
kind of sick. That's cool.
That's how my dad sees me. But he's not wrong. When I've always had goals, I go for them. And I think that's what makes me, as a coach, a little bit better, because I don't have so much distraction going on with where I get my motivation from. I think I was just born like my dad, which is how he is.
Yeah.
But I think for me, my motivation through my friends is... simply like, just been like, oh, hey, your gym outfit was cute. Like, just little words of affirmation here and there. Because, honestly, the most affirmation I seek is from my coach. I'm always just like, tell me I'm doing good.
It's the most unattainable.
I think that's true, because I really do appreciate when people, tell me, oh, hey, you're making such good progress. And even the other day at the gym, I was working out, and one of the other trainers who, him and I used to work out a little bit more together, he just came back to Equinox. I was doing an exercise, and I hear one of the other girl trainers, she's like, dang, go Rachel. And I was doing back, and I turn around, and Isaiah's filming me, and he's like, you just look jacked right now.
Aww.
And I was like, I think that's what I need, is like, just the affirmation that I'm doing well. Because it's really easy for me to, like, be like, oh, well, Enrique didn't say this, or Enrique didn't say that.
Oh, my God.
I need to send him this episode. Be like, I need words of affirmation.
Seriously, though.
But for my friends, it's just, like, because I can do the daily routine. I can hit my macros. I can hit my workouts. And I am pushing myself. I think, for me, it's just having friends who don't make me feel bad for the journey I'm on, because some people are painfully, they're just like, oh, but don't get too much muscle, you're gonna look too like those kind of comments are really frustrating for me, because I'm like, do you know how hard it is to look jacked?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like putting in the effort daily, and I think it's just affirming that, hey, I see you and you're doing great. That for me is all they need, is just because honestly, like, Ephraim is so good at words of affirmation, and from him, I don't need the fitness affirmation from him.
Mm-hmm.
I need like the spousal, like,
yeah,
that words of affirmation. But when it comes to my specific fitness journey, it is the tiny little comments that make me feel better. And like, Allie's actually really good about that too. She'll like comment on my story and just be like, dang, your abs look good. And I'm like, that's all I needed. Yeah. I just needed that little like, I'm not alone. And so so that's where I need my support. But I know other people who maybe they don't have the family support that they're looking for, which I mean is similar in my situation too. Maybe they don't have the friend support. Maybe their kids aren't supportive. But that's where having, if at anything, simple, like, okay, the front desk people at the gym. And that might sound crazy, but I used to work out with this girl who, she was not a gym goer. She started going to the gym with me every day. And I loved it because I had a gym buddy. Now, given she had never been going to the gym. So I was pretty much training her while we went to the gym together. But she was making so much progress, and she was able to go by herself then. And I remember one day she came up to me, she's like, Rachel, I walked in, and the front desk guy knew my name before I scanned in. And she said, I have never been so into fitness where the front desk people know my name. And for her, that was such big motivation. Yeah. That was like a support system. So even if you're friends, family, whatever, people see you. And just use that as another form of support. To walk in, say hi to the front desk, and be like, how's your day going? And they might say, what are you hitting today? And that's where you're getting some support, because people who work at a gym, they care about their members. Like, people who work at gyms don't make a ton of money. Like, they really do care about your physical well-being. And even if you're not training with a trainer, I have people at the gym who simply update me on their progress, even if they're not my client. And for me, I'm like, hey, you're killing it. I see you in here every day. Like, find your support system within a gym too if you feel like you don't have that other support from other people. Because also, just remember, sometimes your family not supporting you, sometimes your friends not supporting you, isn't because it's not out of like this bad, like they don't care about me. But a lot of time it makes them reflect inwardly, and it comes from a place of like self-consciousness, envy that you're taking care of yourself, doing something that they think they can't do. So that's where you have to start creating your circle to get that support, and finding people who are going to motivate you and see what you're doing. Because not everyone you can be reliant on for support. Some people don't have it in them to support you because of their own mental health stuff, which you've touched on. It's like there's a lot to maintain.
Yeah. And
so just remember, your support system can come from an array of people, really.
Totally.
So, I mean, even like I said, you and Allie are each other's support system a little bit, and you guys don't even know each other.
Not even like a lot bit. Well, and we'll even say, oh, you're like cardio goals, or you're this goals, and it's really powerful. And even beyond what we've said so far, like, you can find a community online as well. Like, for all of my fellow Reddit users, I posted on a fitness subreddit, which is basically like a community, if you're not familiar with that platform. And I made a ton of friends from all around the world, just talking about like camaraderie over weight loss journeys and different habits I could adopt and what worked for them and what might work for me. So you can really find a community anywhere, but you have to put yourself out there, I think, in order to receive the support.
Maybe we'll build a community. Maybe we'll figure out how to do that on the internet. Honestly, that'd be awesome.
We've spoken it into existence now, so now I have to do it.
We're manifesting it. I just have to figure out how technology works well enough for that.
It. I need to figure out how it works.
Let us know what platform people would actually use. Because Facebook is great, But sometimes there's like those little Instagram communities in the messages. So
I'm
let
not
us know.
logging on Facebook. I can't do it.
Let us know what's the easiest platform for people to use.
No, I would do it for you guys.
Do the Facebook. Yeah, no, that would be really cool.
We should do that.
So, because there's always room for more support. There's always room for more motivation, or just reassurance that it's okay that you're not going out to eat. Also, save money. But it's
true.
Sometimes we just need reassurance that, like, choosing the healthier path, yes, it does change your circles, guys. When you're the people that need to get up at 6 a.m. to go to your Orange Theory class versus the people that stayed out till 2 a.m. at the bar, like, that changes your circle.
Or if you're me and you're doing both.
We're working on it.
Not all the time. No, but it's true. It's true. And you'll find, too, something I've found is that me pursuing a fitness journey has also coincided with a lot of people in my newer circle also pursuing fitness journeys, where I started doing it. So I said, come to the gym, just see what you think. And then they loved it. And now they're doing gym stuff and weightlifting.
Exactly.
And
well, I have new clients who saw you doing the gym and reached out to me to start training, you know? It's you were their initial
that's so crazy.
Motivation and I mean kind of support, like posting on your stories and stuff. They're like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Julia's doing it. I can do it.
I'm truly the everyman. Like, look, if Julia could do this, I could definitely do this. Because, I don't know. I think it's a comms major thing, but I took a lot of personality tests, and every strengths analysis test I've ever done has rated my discipline and my responsibility and my hopefulness as my bottom strengths.
Whoa, okay.
Every time. Like, it's a known thing that I really struggle with discipline and responsibility. So the reason I share that is because I have been able to pull this off. Not perfectly, and I have definitely slipped in the last month when it comes to macros and all that good stuff. But that doesn't mean...
Still getting your workouts in.
We're still getting the workouts in. But that doesn't mean that you can't hop right back on and just keep going. Like, I see a lot of stuff where it says, oh, like, I had a cheat day. How do I recover? You know, it's like, okay, it's a cheat day because it's a blip. Like, if it was a cheat day that ended your diet, it wouldn't be a cheat day. It would be the end of your diet. Yeah. It wouldn't qualify as a cheat. A cheat day is, by definition, a blip. So just stuff like that where even the least disciplined person I know, i.e. myself, like, can pull off specifically a weight loss journey in particular, because that requires so much work around food. Like, if I can do this, you can do it. And the reason I've been able to do this is in part largely because I've been really vulnerable and opened up to a lot of people who, by the grace of the universe, have also been very kind in return. So it's definitely not like I've done it all, but it's very possible. It's very possible, and you have to put yourself out there, and it's worth it, I would say.
Yeah. And I think having those open conversations, you have been able to be like, you know what? Okay, I've been struggling, but, like, we're choosing myself again. We're choosing this again. And I actually just saw something about that where it's like, sure, things get hard. You might fall off a little bit. But, like, if you wake up and you're like, okay, I had these struggles. We're going to choose me again. We're going to try. Because the second you give up on yourself, that's when it falls. But if you're like, you know what? I've done it. I can do it. Or, like, I have the motivation to do it. I have the support to do it. Yeah. Then it's possible. And it is nice to find those support systems so that you can talk to people, you can have vulnerable conversations with them about why you're struggling, and have them not make you necessarily be like, go crawl in a hole because you screwed up kind of thing. It's like, okay, we screwed up, but where can we make those changes? What do you need help with? And I think even today we were like, okay, maybe snacking's been hard. So let's find some things that you can have that maybe you like that are going to be, like, sugar-free Jell-O. It's like, people forget that exists. It's awesome. Truly. It's so good. Truly. So there's just little, it's okay. We're going to keep choosing ourselves, and we're going to, believe in ourselves that we can do it. And even if things fall off a little bit, we'll revert back. It's going to be okay. And also, you haven't stopped going to the gym.
No.
So it's, it's not like you're just sitting on the couch every night. So your blip, it's okay. We can work through it. You're still choosing your health.
Again.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So, and choosing your mental health, and your apartment's cleaner every time I come.
Keyword.
So, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all in all, find where your support's going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not from your family, that's okay. And don't let that become a resentment. It's hard for everyone to be supportive of something like this because not everyone can do it, and not everyone's gone through it, so they don't know how to support you.
Yeah.
And that's where open communication is great, to show them how they can support you in that. Whatever, if it's an online community that supports you, Whitney Simmons has a really great online community too that, it's just motivation and like, we're all in this together. As they say in High School Musical, we're all in this together.
The sacred text.
Yeah, the sacred text. So yeah, it's your journey, and find people who can walk alongside you in that, even if they're not doing the same thing. There's definitely ways they can support you. And whether it's the front desk person at the gym that just says hi every time and knows your name, that's okay. I love that.
Just find what works. Find what you need, and then
yeah. If you need a little support, if you need a lot of support,
yeah.
I mean, truly, that's kind of the gist of it.
It's the key. It's the key to success.
Yes. Any final thoughts, Julia?
Just while you're looking for your support system, know that you are very much not alone. That lots of people, like as soon as I became more vulnerable and posting about weight loss and trying to get healthier online, a lot of people that I hadn't talked to in a long time reached out and said that they were going through the same thing. So just a reminder that people are out there waiting and they want to talk to you, and it takes reaching out and being vulnerable yourself in order to find them, to cast your net.
Yeah.
What about you?
Kind of the same thing. Just find what you need. Everyone's different. Everyone needs different things. Some people need more, some people need less. But whatever you do need, that's okay. Mm-hmm. If you need a lot of support, what do they say? It takes an army.
Yeah, it takes a village.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
Sometimes an army. It takes a village. And for some people, it takes just one person.
Yeah. And in case you're looking for an online community, you should follow us on at @GGGP_podcast on Instagram. And then you can also email us at girlsgainsandgrowingpains@gmail.com, because ever since you mentioned online community, I cannot stop thinking about it. So keep an eye out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you're looking for a coach, I'm taking on new online clients. I might start a rolling admission where I always start at the top of the month, but I've thought about maybe changing that to when people are ready to start. We're ready to start. So, and that community is growing. We grew a little bit this upcoming month with a few more people. So if that's something you're interested in, and maybe that's where you need your support as a coach, then please reach out. But
11 out of 10 do recommend.
Thank you. Right here, a testimonial.
Testimonial. Live before your eyes.
Yes, exactly. All right, so that has been
another episode of Girls, Gains, and Growing Pains.